Welcome back, fellow 48 forwarders. This is our last big session, and it will include a variety of topics, including travel, health, and IoT. So it will be a little bit more on the techie side. We start off with travel. Travel is something that you do not immediately think of when you think about digitization, but when you had some certain experiences, like I had in my honeymoon last week, then you think there's a lot to improve, and there are some people who are actually doing that. In my case, it was that we had to check out of a hotel to catch a train, and the checkout process took ages because my credit card wasn't accepted, and nobody was there, and there was general translation problems. We already almost missed the train. There are people who set out to change that, to make these processes and other processes a little bit easier for us using technology. Maximilian Waldmann is one of them. He's the founder and CEO of Conichi, a frequent traveler, and he will help us streamline these processes using his app. I welcome here on stage Maximilian. Come up.
Microphone on? I'm not sure. Yeah, perfect. Good evening. I have the honor and the task to wake you up after, I don't know the how many break this was, but I think a couple of you must be quite tired and brain exhausted by now. What I want to do is I want to talk to you about the future of travel. And when I prepared this presentation, I think the first thing, if you think about the future of travel, you think about spaceships. Elon Musk traveling to the moon and to the Mars and to space and wherever you travel. To be quite frank, let's see if this clicker is working. I'm not going to talk about travel. I'm actually going to talk about hotels. And reason behind this and why I want to talk about hotels, I'm going to tell you in a second. But before I start off with, and before I take you through the journey of how we see the future of hotels and why I'm going to tell you about hotels, I want you to envision. And seriously, if you have to close your eyes, you close your eyes, but you think about the last time you went to a hotel. Honestly, try and put yourself back in the position. You walk into that door, you went up to the front desk, there was a lady standing there, and what did you say? You probably said, in my case, I say, hey, my name is Max. And then she says, yeah, okay, and then you say, Waldmann. Then she starts typing into her computer. She says, sorry, can't find you. You say, nee, nee, mit D, nicht mit T. And she's like, okay. So she starts looking again. Okay, I found you. Yeah. Starts typing weird stuff into her computer. No one knows what they're typing. You've all had this situation. And then what she does is, she reaches underneath her desk, gets out this nice registration form, hands it to you and says, yeah, please fill out. If you have the luck to be in a city like Cologne, you have to fill out a city tax form as well. And then after filling out all these bureaucratic forms, she hands over the room key. You go to your room, hopefully have an enjoyable night. Next morning, 8 o'clock, do exactly the same. You queue again. You say, hey, by the way, I had peanuts and Coke from the minibar. She says, yeah, exactly, peanuts and Coke. You're like, okay, but I have to pay this with my private card. So you give her your private credit card because the rest is paid by your company. You know, all these things. And now I ask you, does this look to you like an easy, seamless, and efficient process? And I don't want to take anything ahead of my presentation, but think of other players in the broader travel market and how they make it easy and seamless for you to book travel and to actually consume travel. And I'll take you through that journey now. First of all, why hotels? Why am I not talking about travel and spaceships and Elon Musk? The point is, I wouldn't fit into 20 minutes, and quite frankly speaking, the hospitality market is a huge market. 9.5 million people in Europe work in hotels. It's huge. It's one of the key drivers, always one of the top performing industries. So it is really, really important that we ensure what the future of hotels are. And if any of you go to a new city, maybe some of you go to an Airbnb, a large share will go to a hotel. So the hotel naturally is the first point you go to on your journey. But hotels, they have sort of this process. And I don't think I have to further elaborate what this means. They're having a huge party, everything's good, but they're steering towards an iceberg. And reason is, you have players like Airbnb, You have market consolidation, and I'll take you through all these in a second. But the point is, they're on a boat and they're not even knowing what's happening. When we started off in 2013 and we talked to travel managers and corporates and we said, hey guys, we want to give you a solution which makes traveling easy. They said, yeah, we don't need you. And then we said, but like Airbnb and all these threats, and they said, Airbnb, for us as a corporate, never. It will never work. We said, why? Yeah, because tax reasons, number one. Number two, compliance reasons. Number three, all these other bureaucratic issues. This year, Airbnb made 5% of their revenues with corporate travel. Next year, is it going to be 10%, 15%? Who knows, but it doesn't matter. The point is, the market is confronted with an iceberg, and they're steering right towards it. In fact, they're actually, dancing around, still understanding what's going on. So, before I take you through, I want you to meet George. So George is this typical business traveler. Yeah? He's on the road, he travels a lot, he's this typical road warrior. And he's confronted with challenges, which tie to pack and all these things, and how to pack his stuff wrinkle-free. But also he has other issues. Every single time he goes to a hotel, he has to queue. Now that's fine, right, if you think about George alone. But if you think about George's company, 1,000 travelers plus, they all queue for check-in, check-out, they all wait, they all have to run through the process we went through at the beginning of this presentation. Now you multiply that by the inefficiency you get, it's enormous, it's huge. He goes there, first thing he has to do is he has to pay. Now, a typical thing in corporate travel is virtual payments. Awesome, makes perfect sense because, transparency in the payment process, the company always know how much money you're spending. It's easy, you cannot go on Zalando and buy shoes. It's perfect, it's the perfect thing. Point is, the majority of hotels don't accept virtual credit cards. There's always a problem. At the end of the day, he hands over his private card and has to reimburse his expenses. It's not cool, it's not easy, it's not efficient. And then paperwork, registration forms, city tax forms. Think about the end of the stay. Just really think about it. This is ridiculous. Okay, so what happens? Next morning, he comes to the reception, does all this peanuts thing. He gets the invoice after, doing all this stuff of separating expenses, private, business expenses. He folds the invoice, puts it into his bag, goes to his job, whatever he has to do, comes back next day, unfolds it at his office, reads it through again. Yesterday, hotel stay, scans it. That scan is then sent off to an expense management department. They go ahead, they get that scan, they digitize it again. There's a failure rate of 30%, so it goes somewhere to Vietnam or India, they type it off. It's crazy if you think about the process behind. And Deborah, the travel manager, she's frustrated as well because she has no idea how much her travelers are spending. And I'm not talking about 100-euro hotel stay, I'm talking about thousands of travelers of multi-millions flying around right now, and they have no clue whatsoever how much they're spending, where they're spending, why they're spending. They get the information after maybe 6 weeks, after 7 weeks, depending on how long that process is. Cutting a long story short, companies are losing shitloads of money. So that's the company side. Now let's look at the hotel side. What's happening on the hotel market? The hotel market is similar to like a yacht race, what's going on at the moment. Everyone is trying to be faster, trying to get bigger, and there's huge consolidation going on in the market. Mergers, Marriott Starwood, Chinese are buying in, of course they are, always buying in if it gets interesting. It's loads of things going on. And the problem with that is, you could say, fine, who cares? Like, who gives a damn, right? They consolidate and they get bigger. The point is, 70 to 80% of the hotels are individual, independent, family-owned, family-run hotels. The big chunk of the market is not Marriott Starwood. Coming back to the 9.5 million I talked about earlier, suddenly it becomes clear what's happening. A whole industry, at least the standard hotels, are confronted with a huge problem. Because the price pressure the big guys are bringing up to consolidation and digitization, everything they can do to enhance the guest experience, they can't. Because they're taking 80 euros per night, and how should they pay anything for digitization? It doesn't work. And then there's this other big thing, this mystery, this Generation YZ everyone talks about. 2020, 50% of guests will be Generation YZ. What are hotels doing? What does the standard hotel do to actually model their entire experience to suit that exact customer group? Nothing. They don't do nothing. But again, huge potential there. And what do they want? Now, hotels will have to think about, what can I do to enhance this entire user group? And it all comes down to personalization. I mean, you all know Nike ID, you all know the success Nike ID had with printing the small name on the sneakers. It's these little things, it's the little small sort of changes which make an experience which is memorable. I mean, none of you remember dates and times and whatever. You remember these situations. The honeymoon, I wasn't able to check out situation and stuff like that, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. And the big guys, they know. I mean, they have smart marketing teams, they know all of this, and they invest millions into enhancing the guest experience. And what do 70 to 80% of the market do? They can't do nothing. And then you have a traveler. You have that George guy. He knows all these services. He knows My Taxi, he knows Uber, he orders his stuff on the go. He never goes to the airline counter and says, hey, my name's George, can I please have an airline ticket? He has the airline ticket on his smartphone, as probably 99% of you have. So again, those people know what they want, they know the process. Then you have another interesting change. Again, there is no clear distinction between business and between leisure. So if you look at the hospitality market, you have to think about leisure. You have to think about what do individual hotel properties actually do. There is no business hotel or a leisure hotel. If you're somewhere on the Maldives, you'll probably check your emails also and slack off your work and vice versa. Point is that the hotels, especially 70 to 80% of the hotels, they still haven't understood this. And they still classify themselves as some kind of hotels, whereas they fundamentally have to rethink what they actually do and what their role is within the entire travel chain. I think it's evident that there are pretty stormy times ahead of hotels. I mean, it's just fundamentally disrupted this market. Other industries are actually leading and showing hotels what to do. Back in the days, when you went to a hotel, the coolest thing was, smelling nice soaps and stuff like that. They had the sleekest TVs. Nowadays, come on, your TV at home, I bet you 80% of the hotels, your TV at home is way more modern than the one you find in a hotel. But that's just one thing. Of course, innovation is faster and faster, and hotels can't keep up, and they shouldn't keep up. The point is they have to rethink their role of where they are in the traveler chain, and not just simply provide a bed in a business or leisure hotel. I talked about it earlier. The beast. Yeah? And I'm not an Airbnb hater. I love Airbnb. I think it's an awesome product. I think it's easy, it's seamless, it's efficient, it's everything a travel product should be. But 5% of their revenues were corporate travel. And again, this started off as a pure leisure product. I can right now name you 10 Germany 30 companies we spoke to where the entire travel management said, never ever. My travelers will never ever use Airbnb. It doesn't work. You know what? Probably 50% of them are using Airbnb right now, and they're actually including it into their entire travel policy. It's huge, and things really changed. But what you can learn from Airbnb is the easiness, the sleekness of traveling. Going there, go inside and it says, hey, my name's John, downstairs is a cool sushi shop. There's no registration forms, no filling out, all these crap of payments, nothing alike. Hotels are in a huge struggle. Now, what can you do? 9.5 million people, what can you do? We truly believe that the only chance to change this is by using technology to pull them out. Of course, hotels have to rethink their role. They have to invest into their buildings and into lobbies and all these kind of things. But the fundamental thing is, and it comes down to technology, is defining a layer. It's defining a piece which sits between travelers and hotels to fundamentally change the entire experience from door to door. And that's exactly what we aim out to do with Conichi. Our goal is to create this universal tech layer, a bit of technology which allows you to make it easy. Again, this is not the secret source which will solve everything, but I'll show you in a second what this does and how this sort of slight change can completely change everything. And now again, I know I'm not talking about rockets and spaceships and the future of hotels maybe isn't as crazy as you have in your heads, and it isn't about robots welcoming you in the hotel lobby. It's about making the process so sexy that you say, of course, hotel to an Airbnb, of course, it's easy, it's nice, it's a good experience. And that my brothers, who are my age, a bit younger, perfect generation YZ, that they say, hotels, easy. I just go there with my phone, I check in and I check out. That's it. So for all of you that have ever put their head around this market and what you can do and travel in particular, we fundamentally believe that you have to think about these 3 C's, how we like to call them, which is first of all, check and check out. It is a process. You have to get rid of that. Second of all, you have to understand your guests. You have to know who they are. You have to be able to customize, personalize the service according to exactly what they want. Otherwise, hotels are just a room with a bed. And lastly, communication. You have to make it seamless, easy. You have to allow them to, just communicate in a very natural way, the way you would, Snapchat your friends or WhatsApp your friends. Currently, picking up the phone and calling, 0 or 1, or try and find the reception number first, and then you wait there for a couple minutes, and then they pick up. That's not the way the future is. That's not what you know from a standard digital customer experience. So let me run you through how we envision an easy, seamless stay. And now don't expect rockets. It's going to be pretty standard, but you can see how a bit of tech can change the entire experience. Yeah, thank you. So you might say, come on, yeah, it's not that crazy. Where's the big bang innovation? You cannot imagine how much time we've spent to create a technology layer which allows you to connect with hotels, locks, and the entire infrastructure around the hotel experience. We're 50 people in Berlin. We've spent around, I think now 2.5 years, creating a technology which allows you to connect them to. It's such a highly fragmented market, but we believe that if you use that layer, everyone else can come on and tap into that. Yeah, you can then easily send a taxi to your room. You can add your entertainment package to it, your music package, whatever you want to do. But in order to change hospitality, in order to change the way hotels work and function, and to take out those 70 to 80% of individual hotels into a position where they can be head-to-head with the big guys, allowing them to use the technology which enhances the entire experience, we think that a layer like this exactly changes the entire sphere. So what this does is we tap, and a technology layer like this taps into all these verticals. That's why the complexity is so high. But that's what offers everyone the opportunity to work with hotels. It's a huge market. It's a great market. You just need to be able to understand how you can best tap in. But for us, we, with one layer, cover all these 4 parts. So we cover hotels. We allow you to do a fast check-in, check-out. We cover payments, door opening, the entire experience you have in hotels. In fact, if you're familiar with beacons, Bluetooth beacons, you use Bluetooth beacons to actually recognize the guest and have your profile pop up in real time so you can personally greet your guest. That's, by the way, where Conichi comes from, Konnichiwa. Corporates, so we give the solution to corporates to make it easy for you to travel and also to do the entire expense management thing. We work together with tech companies, so with OTAs like HRS, like Concur, Sabre, so people who actually distribute apps to corporate travelers. And lastly, other verticals such as airline lounges to sort of cover the entire experience. So now that I showed you the bit more boring style video, I'm going to leave you with our latest clip, which is just airing today. It's a bit more funky, a bit more fancy, sort of covering the chain. If you are at a hotel, try it out. By the way, they're not called Conichi hotels, they're called smart hotels. So if you ever see smart hotel, then try it out. You can use it in the Conichi app, in the HRS application. If you're working for a big corporate, Concur, Sabre, CWT, I'm around here, so ask me if you want to know more. So enjoy our clip and have a great evening.